I am happy to announce that I am now sponsored by Scuff Gaming. Make sure you use code REID, R-E-I-D, on any and all Scuff-related purchases if you want to get yourself the best controller on the market that the #1 console player uses. I definitely recommend Scuff. What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy Reed, the #1 console player in the world, as said by JGOD, Swagg, and hundreds of others. And I am back with a new updated Season 5 settings video. A lot of people have been asking me to do this for many months since my last settings video. I'm gonna be a spoiler and let you guys know, in case you have seen the last settings video, not much has changed. I don't change my settings very often. I don't know why so many people are asking for an updated settings video, but either way, there have been a few new settings added in that I just left at the default, but I'm gonna go right through everything and explain everything for you guys. So here we go. Start right on with the controller. I play on Bumper Jumper Tactical, even though I do have a beautiful Scuff controller. Use code READ, by the way. Even though I do have a controller with paddles, I still have been playing on Bumper Jumper Tactical for years now. It's mind muscle memory. Has been set for me. I don't really want to change that. I don't really feel like I'm going to benefit from changing back the default, so I keep it like that. If you don't want to buy a fancy controller and spend hundreds of dollars getting a special controller, I definitely recommend that you do try this, because it is real nice to be able to play the game without having to take your thumb off the right thumbstick. Stick layout default, invert vertical look disabled. My input dead zones, I keep the minimums at 0.03. I like the way that they feel. Even if your controller does drift just a little bit, I still want your dead zone to be as low as possible, so that way your controller, your thumbstick, is as responsive as it can be. You don't really want to move it too low, especially with the left stick, because then if you are like laying down and it's getting triggered by itself, you will move. You can't sit still. Physically cannot sit still. The max input dead zone I have at 0.8. You can actually turn this a little bit lower if you want your movement on your left stick to be just a little bit more responsive. It makes very minimal of a difference, if anything, but it's definitely something you can try if you feel like you want your movement's just not fast enough. I definitely recommend you turn that down a little bit. Right Sigmax Input, I want that all the way up. You want it cranked to the max, so that way you have as much range of motion as possible on your aiming thumbstick. Now, one thing I do that a lot of other people do, and I don't necessarily recommend that you copy it, is I play on a different vertical sensitivity as my horizontal sensitivity. Ever since we played Jetpack CODs, I had 7.7 sensitivity, and we went from people flying up, down, left, and right, you gotta look all over the place super fast, to Call of Duty World War II, where I never had to do anything more than look up to a second-story window. I turned my vertical sensitivity down. I liked it. I feel like it was super easy to help me beam people off of head glitches. It made my sniper like a lot less hit markers, because it was easier to fine-tune my aim up and down and hit certain parts of the body. Now in Warzone, when you're back to people flying way up above you, you got to look way a couple stories down because of all the rooftops and stuff. I don't necessarily recommend it, but it is something if you want to try, if you want to fine-tune your vertical aim, to try a different vertical sensitivity. Other than that, though, 7, I think, is the sweet spot. It's right where you want to be. Lower sensitivity, I taught this years ago. It is way more important to hit every bullet in every single one of your gunfights than it is to be able to turn quickly and occasionally, once in a while, have a chance of turning on somebody. You always want to hit every bullet as much as possible. Custom sensitivity per zoom, I actually do have this on. So basically all my low zooms from low to 0.5 or to 5 times, I have it on 0.8. Anything higher than that, I have it on 0.9. These are all personal preference on what you like. I definitely recommend that when you ADS, you want your sensitivity to be lower. You want to be more fine-tuned while aiming, rather than it being higher and all over the place. Again, these are all personal preference. You can tweak these to however you want, but this just gives you an idea of what I use. Aim response curve type, I play it on linear. I always tell people there is not one of these that is better than the other. It is all personal preference. There's some science that goes behind it to explain how each different one works. It all is just about how your brain reacts and how you want your thumb stick to react to your muscles. Personal preference. Pick one that you like, and then I recommend you stick with it. Do not change it too much. You do not want to change your response curve around, because it'll mess with your muscle memory. So pick one that you like the way it feels. That's what I did when MW19 first came out. I've stuck with it since then. Control vibration, 99% of people are going to tell you to turn this off instantly. I have never picked up a controller and played anything ever without vibration enabled. Anytime I try, it feels super weird to me. I don't like the way it feels, so I play with it on. Again, I'm not going to tell you to copy my settings on this one, because most people will tell you they play with vibration turned off. This is one of the newer settings, gas mask toggle only. I don't like this. After years of the game, I very rarely ever die to my gas mask, because I've learned when to go in and out of the zone. to make sure that the timing is right. So I keep it disabled, but this is an option that you can try if you want to. I don't really like change. Like I said, I'm used to my gas mask going down automatically. Aim assist, you already know, we don't cheat out here. We don't cheat here at the Read Boy channel. All the mouse and mouse and key nerds, mouse and keyboard players, I don't really like to make them upset because they do like to complain a lot about the game, so I just turn my aim assist off and I'm still better than all them, so nothing crazy going on here. We don't cheat. Weapon mount ADS plus melee, I just like the way this feels. Weapon mount movement, yeah, anytime I move, I want to get out the mount. I don't want to be stuck in the mount. Aim down sight behavior, hold it. Steady aim behavior, hold it. Equipment behavior, hold it. Contextual tap. This is a setting, if you have not changed to, I definitely recommend that you do this. I was very stubborn on this setting for a long time. I was like, no, it doesn't take me that long to just hold the button to pick something up. I did not realize until I changed the setting, you physically grab things off the ground faster by playing contextual tap. You definitely need to change this setting if you have not yet. Depleted ammo weapon switch, yeah, it's just faster when my gun runs out of ammo to automatically switch by itself than it is for me to realize I'm out of ammo and switch guns myself. So I recommend you put that on. Armor plate behavior, apply all. Yeah, that makes it faster sometimes when you're running around in the heat of the moment to just automatically armor all your plates at the same time rather than you having to hold it, and what if your finger accidentally slips and then you're not armoring up and it just takes you extra long. So apply all, I definitely recommend you play with that on. Slide behavior, tap, that's how you get your movement to the next level. You want to be able to tap to slide so you can just slide as fast as possible. Auto move disabled, tactical sprint. I would turn this to single tap from run, but I play on automatic tactical sprint. And if you have not switched to this setting yet, I definitely recommend you do it if you feel like your movement is lacking and you feel like you just don't run as fast as some of these streamers do. Automatic tactical sprint is what I changed about a year ago to get my movement to the next level. It makes things super crazy. You are able to do so much faster with automatic tactical sprint. It does take some getting used to. It took a couple months of me accidentally running off ledges or accidentally falling and not being able to get through a ladder or something. It took me many months to get used to that. And I still sometimes do things on accident, but it is definitely worth it to have. Vehicle camera recenter disabled, these aren't really too important. Parachute auto deploy, I definitely recommend that you disable that. It is going to make it so that way you can get to the ground way faster if you don't pull your chute in the sky and then have to cut it like 30 feet from the sky. This definitely helps you win races to the ground, to get that ground loot, to get those helis, to get those planes or vehicles or whatever you're trying to get. This definitely helps you get there faster. You are going to break your ankles. It's going to happen. After having this disabled for like 2 years now, I still break my ankles sometimes. It happens. It's a worth it sacrifice though. Definitely worth it to have. Alright, that goes through all the important settings. That's your main stuff. Now onto the graphics. Camera movement, you definitely want this to be minimal. You don't want your camera shaking all over the place. Safe area, by the way, is custom to your monitor. You want to be lined up for your specific monitor. Motion blur, both these disabled. You don't want things to be blurry. You want to be able to see as much as you can, as much as possible. Film grain, turn it off. Dismemberment and gore, I think it's pretty cool. I leave it on. Brightness, again, this is kind of personal preference. I like things to pop out a little bit more. I don't really care about graphics and the colors and the way things look. So I got mine turned up a little bit to 60. On-demand texture streaming, I have really high quality fast internet, so I've got my on-demand texture streaming to high quality unlimited bandwidth. That's not really a problem for me. If you got slower internet, not ideal internet speeds or something, you might want to turn this down a little bit, but that's personal, that's on you. Interface subtitles disabled. I see a lot of people play with them on. I don't really like it. It kind of bugs me when it pops up on the screen, so I got that disabled. Language, I speak English. Deuteranopia, I like the way these colors look. I'm not colorblind. I've just, ever since Modern Warfare 3, I've always just played with some random colorblind filter on just to change the colors of the game up just a little bit. Colorblind target, I got it set to both, so it affects in-game. It gives it a little bit of a tint to it, and it gives my menu changing the colors. Tooltips enabled. Doesn't really matter to me at all. Minimap shape, square. As you can see in this image right here, you literally see more of your minimap. You literally get a bigger minimap, so you definitely want to be playing on a square minimap. I sometimes change mine to a circle just to troll people. But yeah, if you want the most effective meta, if you will, you want it to be on a square minimap. Minimap rotation is personal preference. I have it enabled. Show your compass. Yeah, my teammates like to give call outs in the cardinal directions or whatever. It's still, anytime this happens, if you watch me on stream, I'm literally looking up to my minimap, or looking up to this compass and spinning in a circle to try and figure out where they're calling out. But it helps out a little bit. It's better to have it. It doesn't really distract you too much. And then yeah, I have the letters on as well. Kill feed duration. Now this is a super minor tip that is very rarely ever going to be useful to you, but when it is, it's super nice. So when somebody goes down, if you don't shoot them, if you don't hurt them at all, it takes them 60 seconds to bleed out, give or take a couple seconds. It takes them about 60 seconds to bleed out. So I turn my kill feed duration to 60 seconds. If you down somebody and you still see their name on the kill feed, there's a chance that they are still downed. If you do not see their name anymore, if their name passed all the way, they either got revived, they self-revived or something, and you know for a fact, if you didn't get the full kill for them yet, they are up somewhere. So just a little minor mental tip to have. Very rarely ever going to help you, but it doesn't hurt to have it. Always show vehicle controls, air only. I don't really pay attention to that too much. Close buy station on purchase, yes. Even though if you are trying to buy multiple things at once, it is faster to have the buy station up. In the heat of the moment when you are getting shot at and there's a buy station, you need to buy your teammates back really fast. It's just a lot faster to have this on. More often than not, it's going to save your life by having it enabled to close than it is for it to stay open. Default to focus, this is one of the settings that they just added in. They said this was going to happen, and I kind of got used to the muscle memory of it's always going to be on my first loadout, so I know where all my loadouts are and how far I have to scroll for each one. I don't want them to keep changing that. It was annoying when they added it. It was annoying when it went back. It was annoying, so I don't like change. I'm just fine with this setting as is. You can change that to your personal preference. Text chat, I got it enabled, but I got to have the profanity filter on because people are weird. Don't have message sound alerts on. None of that's really important. And then now onto the audio settings. Now I gotta let you know before I do this, I can't hear anything ever. But I've never been good at hearing footsteps in Call of Duty. Ever since I got like a nice headset, I can kind of hear things, but I feel like I am so much worse at hearing things in game than other people are. I will have teammates spectating me, calling out footsteps left and right that I just cannot hear. So it's not my settings, it's my ears. I don't know if my settings are the best possible or what. Master volume, I got it down to 60. It is not worth it to go deaf over playing a video game because your audio is cranked way too high. I've had teammates before who I'm screaming callouts at them and they can't hear me over the sound of their own gun firing, and they are always saying what because they can't hear anything because they're going deaf at the age of 20. It ain't worth it to have it too high. Don't do that. Don't be weird. It's just a game. I've got it down to 60. Boost high, I've tried all the different sets of audio mixes. None of them are better or worse than the other, just kind of slightly affects things. None of them help you actually hear footsteps any better than other one. Just personal preference, the way you want your game to sound. Normally I have my music volume set to like 5 just so it's not completely silent. I only turn it up to 69 for this video. You want your music volume down. You don't want this music in your ear in the middle of the game while you're trying to hear footsteps. Dialogue volume, I got to turn down to 60. This dude is constantly yelling stuff in your ear. Some of it's pretty important, so you want to be able to hear it, but you don't want it getting over the sound of footsteps. I was told that this effects volume is the sound of footsteps, and to crank it all the way up, I turned it all the way up at one point. I used to have it down to like 30. I can't tell you I noticed a difference. I can't tell you it got any better, it got any worse, so I just kept it at 100. This only matters for the campaign. I don't really care about that. Juggernaut music, whenever I'm in a jug, I do want that music blaring. So I got that on. Hit marker sound effects, I like the classic sound of the hit markers. That's just me. Mono audio, this is for certain people if you need it. I don't have it disabled. Voice chat, I do have it on, but ever since I got a PS5 controller, the PS5 controller actually has a built-in mic, so unfortunately you can't hear death comms anymore because they play through my controller. It's an unfortunate downside, but I really do like this PS5 stuff, so I suck it up and deal with it. It is okay. I do have it cranked to 400 though, so that way I can hear people yelling through my controller. It's kind of funny sometimes. And then I've got the open mic threshold and my microphone volume set to as loud as possible, so my mic sounds absolutely god-awful anytime I ever talk to anybody in game chat. Voice chat, I do like the classic chatter that comes through. People always ask why my game sounds like everybody has a terrible mic. That's why. War tracks, I do like these on sometimes whenever I'm cruising a vehicle. I like to have a little bit of music playing. It's super easy to turn it off. But that will go through all your settings. That'll be, there you go guys, the #1 console players. The best settings possible if you play on console. Like I said, there are some settings I don't necessarily recommend you copy, but that is everything that I use. Do not forget, if you're not yet subscribed, to drop a subscription to the channel for more console content. If you like the video, make sure you drop a like, drop a comment if there's anything else you guys want to see. I appreciate it. You guys have yourself a blessed one.